Justin with the Atlanta Brick Co., and I am joined by Mark and Angie. This is our second vlog, video, podcast, vlogcast, whatever you call that.
I like
Does it
the
have
combo.
a word?
Yeah, vlogcast sounds great.
Is there a actual
Vlog?
official term for a video podcast?
Somebody
Is there
asked me
such a
that
thing?
yesterday, and I didn't know the name.
I don't know.
Okay.
We could just do whatever we
Sounds
want.
like
It's the
vlogcast.
internet.
Or just-
It's free.
That's right, that's right.
It's just a VOD.
It's a VOD.
It's a VOD.
It's not VOD, it's VOD.
Strike a pose.
Yeah.
Go VOD.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so shall we start finally?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
let's
now that's a perfect intro. Yes,
That's right. Today we're talking about modular buildings, and I have the modular masters with me. And behind us, and we'll pull this out so we can have a
Yeah.
looky-loo. At that, we have our own custom modular city. You've probably seen it if you've watched our Facebook Live feeds, or have I shown it in any of the other YouTube videos? I don't think I have.
I don't think you've done a special video on it, but you've probably seen it in the background in
But
a couple videos.
It's got lights, it's motorized, you push a button, there's a train that goes around it, and the gorgeousness of this thing is that each building represents a Lego theme. And Chris was telling me a lot of these buildings have been sold, like the entire city's been redone at least once.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And I didn't realize this, but that big building Mark did, that is actually the Noonan
Yes.
courthouse.
Town hall.
It's like a
That's
scale model of it, actually. Yeah, so it's
That is cool.
pretty cool. It's like as close as possible as you can get with Lego bricks. So.
That's awesome. A lot of red mason.
Yeah,
bricks.
a lot of bricks.
A lot of
Just
red.
a lot of red bricks.
So let's start from the beginning. In your opinion, what is a modular building? How is it different from regular Lego buildings?
You want to get that, Angie? Or want me to get
You
that?
do it.
Okay, I'll start. Okay, so what sets modular buildings apart from a normal Lego building to me is the fact that it's modular. You got every story has its own removable section, so that's what is like the fundamental difference between just a normal like a city building. Like the superheroes line has some great modular style buildings, but they don't separate, so they're not necessarily modulars. You can convert them to modulars, but they're not that genre in my mind. So that's the main element.
So modular in that sense means it comes
Separable,
apart.
yeah. Mhm.
It's
Kind of
separable.
like its own separate entity.
Mhm.
It's like layers of a cake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love food metaphors.
Exactly.
Let's keep with the food metaphors.
Yeah, let's keep that rolling.
It's also fully enclosed, which Lego
Yes.
rarely does.
Yeah.
Unless it's in the modular
Yeah,
style.
modulars are always like, basically 360. The sides are made flat so you can put them together, but everything else is like fully enclosed. So.
Okay. Now, you said you hadn't done much modular building until you started here, and you were kind of Mark's apprentice in some ways. Can you tell me kind of maybe your journey without sounding too dramatic, or like we're talking about Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
To find the ring.
That's right. Like, how did you start? What was your kind of perception on modular building? Did actually doing it change any of those perceptions?
I love modulars. That, I guess, has to be part of it. The beauty of it, and I always thought it was way more difficult to do than they actually have turned out to be, for me at least. And when Chris, our boss, said he was going to build a city and each person could create a modular based on a theme, I desperately wanted to be a part of that. And having had no experience with modulars, building them at least, I was up for the challenge. So I started with what I know, which is Friends. And I think Chris was kind of surprised that I created a Friends modular, because I don't know that there's any out there.
No, not really.
There should be.
There should be. And went with the colors that I had at home, and went with one of the themes of Friends. I think it was the juice bar that it was inspired by, and just started playing with it a little bit and brought it in, and Chris loved it, and that was the end of that. But then that one was pretty simple for me, very simplified. The more I did, the more
Detail
I wanted to be, and then that's where I always have this issue where I have a design in my head, but I don't have enough experience with Lego to be able to put that out there. So then that's where Mark became my mentor, my sensei, my grasshopper.
You're the grasshopper.
Oh, I'm the grasshopper.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
all the metaphors. Yeah.
Yeah, all those.
But I don't
We're
know
sticking with food. I
what's the
thought.
food metaphor. He became the oven.
Special sauce.
Yeah, the special sauce. That's it. Yay, yes. To my Big Mac. Okay, so I would ask him, and he would give me ideas, and then I'd go home and try it. And the more he taught me, the more I did. And now I don't believe I've arrived, but I definitely love it. It's my favorite thing to do.
You would say you're a journeyman
Oh,
now?
yes.
Okay. Started as a novice, but now a journeyman.
Extremely novice.
Competent modular builder nonetheless. Though.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. What are
And
some...
from him, that's pretty good.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
That's a compliment, yes.
Brush your shoulders off. What are some of the biggest pitfalls when you see people start doing something as complicated and detailed as a modular?
Right. So there's two major pitfalls, and I think for me anyway, and what I see is that people can either go too plain and they don't add enough detail, or they find a pattern that looks cool and they just overdo it, and that's the only thing that's special about the modular. So, and I also fall prey to that one as well. So modulars have a unique balance and composition, so that there are lots of patterns in it, but it's not. None of them are overwhelming the entire creation. There's always some colorful elements, some details, some life, and so if you kind of just, if it all looks the same, it looks like a patchwork quilt. It's not the same. You know, it has to have a real variety to it. So
that always impressed me. The official Lego modulars that come out, they always find new, strange ways to use
A piece you would have
a
never.
piece.
yeah, the
Like-
patterns,
Never
the
thought,
unique uses. Yeah. it's-
Now, in some words, I feel like they're cheating because they can recolor it in any
Yeah.
color they want, and we can't.
Yeah.
But the things that come to mind, the one modular I own,
Mhm.
I had to get it because I usually don't collect modern things. But it was the Detective's Workshop,
Yeah.
and that
Great.
had two new things, and it had the Unikitty tail in gray,
Mm-hmm.
and it had, and I don't think this technique has ever been used before or after, but it used the bionicle hands
Yeah, that's
as
very
some
unique.
of the
Mhm.
textures on the
Mhm.
top of the building.
Mhm.
So, so that was always interesting to me how they push that, and every time I see that, it kind of unlocks an idea.
Exactly.
Right? Oh, I never even thought of doing it that way.
Yeah.
So, how
Yeah,
about
same here?
some rare part usages for you, or really innovative kind of things? Have you guys come up with anything? Is there anything we're going to see back here? that's
Yeah,
kind of
I've
strange?
got a few on the one that I like. One recent modular I did, it has the end of the elephant trunk incorporated in the window. So I kind of like that. Was about as wild as I've ever used a piece before, and it's a non-original use. But I'm sure we'll see other ones as well. Do you have any?
Yeah,
you think of, Angie?
I have to think about it. I think my Olaf's ice cream shop probably has a few because that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
most
I
recent
see
one,
some.
and the more I get,
I see one in
Do you-
particular that's good. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I've done the most recent on. So that one I probably did use it. I like the use of the gray banana,
Mm-hmm.
and some I have not used it myself, but I've seen that one done really uniquely, and that one's kind of pretty
Yeah,
cool to me.
the croissant in white,
Yeah.
stuff
yes,
like that.
the
So,
croissant. Mhm.
but again, Lego
More
cheats.
food.
They can.
Bananas and croissants.
That's right.
Oh,
More
yes.
food metaphors. Yes.
Ah.
So, biggest pitfalls for you were, or when you see in other people getting into it, is don't make it too
Simplicity or
detailed,
patterns.
but don't. And we don't have that problem here, but the symmetry always bothered me. That
Yes.
I would have all these cool pieces on one side, but then the other side, I don't have that same piece in that color.
Yes.
Um,
That I was gonna say that is one of my biggest pet peeves is if it's not even. Because I don't build abstractly. Like Mark can just look at something and just create like a curve to it and all. I have yet to gain that skill. But the reason I love modulars is because they're very symmetrical in many ways, and you have a certain area you can build in, and that's it. And if you try to go out of it a little bit, it's fine. I'm learning from him again how to do that with the nameplate things I do and all. But so yeah, when it's not symmetrical, or people are trying to be wild and crazy, but they just don't quite get it, that is a big pet peeve. for
do
me.
you find the symmetry is a little too handcuffing to?
Well, I
when
think,
you're building,
I
or
think I've
not?
mentioned this in another video, but if you have a little bit of a guidelines or a page you have to fit within this certain mold. Like modulars have a very specific size and style. You have to have the layers. Under confinement actually is a little bit easier to create inside of. So once you
Yes.
are given the guidelines, it's like, oh, I can do this within the guidelines.
Yes.
So it's actually, I would say, instead of just building a big building, doing a modular is easier because you're like, it has to be this size. What can I do within there?
Mhm.
So
It's very comforting to me.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really a lot easier.
It's a
than,
relief.
It's like the writer's block is when they face a blank page, they don't know where to
Yeah.
start. Instead of saying it's like you have to write a paragraph. Okay, I can write a paragraph.
Yeah.
You know, so it breaks it down, makes it easier to build in my mind. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, I hit the roadblock when it's pieces.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, I have this really cool design on this side,
Mhm.
and I got like 90% of it on the other side. And with modulars, it has to be symmetrical.
Mhm.
So, of course, again, we don't have that problem.
Yeah, we have a good selection of
Pieces
pieces
is
here.
good, yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, we run short of masonry bricks
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot around
Mhm.
here because all of them are in there.
Exactly. They're all back there.
Yeah, every time we
You
get
can
them,
see
we're like,
them, they
oh,
all
let's
look
build a
great.
new building.
All of these are for sale, though,
They are.
including the
Everything has a
giant-
price.
Everything has, except as we've learned, the cutouts.
Yeah, those are the ones that
Don't
yeah.
touch Chris's cutouts.
Yeah.
Chris is just not going to sell those. But everything else he'll sell.
Do you guys have favorites? I've already said mine. Your favorite
Right.
module.
I'm going to let Angie start with that one. I'm sure she has a favorite.
My most favorite isn't even in the city anymore because it's sold.
Mm-hmm.
I did a Scooby-Doo. It was Scooby Snack Shack.
I remember
Mhm.
that one.
The bottom floor was completely bright and cheery, and all the guys meeting at a hamburger joint and Scooby snacks everywhere. And then the other two levels were haunted. Vampire's apartment was the second floor, and then the third floor was his apartment, but it was his coffin with all his stuff.
Very
And then the
spooky.
outside looked like a haunted house.
Mm-hmm.
That one sold.
Yep.
So I miss it desperately, and I took lots of pictures of it just because I want to recreate it
Mhm.
again at some
Mhm.
point. But that was my favorite. If I had to go by the one in here now that is my favorite, it probably would be I would say maybe Harry Potter's Apothecary or
That one's
Olaf's
really good.
Ice Cream Shop.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Those were the other two that I
Mm-hmm.
love.
I always liked how you guys incorporated the theme of whatever it is to the type of building it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Scooby-Doo was the Mystery Snack Shack.
Mhm.
The
Unikitty Pet Store was
the
another
Unikitty
one.
is a pet store. Like it kind of
classic
goes with
space,
this
yeah.
theme. The classic space is what?
the
It's
Postal Service.
It's a postal service. 'cause
Interstellar.
spaceships.
Exactly.
It all makes sense. So you're
Mhm.
using two themes
Mhm.
and meshing them together.
Exactly.
How about you? What's your favorite?
Let's see. Looking at this now, I'd have to say I like the Johnny Thunder's. It's like the oddities and curiosities. It's like the antique
Mhm.
store, and that's my favorite just because of I like tan as a color, and some of the parts usage was really good in there. So that's probably my favorite one right now. But they're all pretty cool. I enjoyed all. building all
Well,
of
one
them.
of my favorites of Mark's isn't here anymore either. It was the Jurassic Park, the
that
coffee
was
shop.
good too.
Jurassic
Because it had-
Park. Because
Yeah, and then the dinosaur was coming out of the top of it.
Mhm.
I thought that one was awesome. So the ones we love, people have been buying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cool ones go pretty quick.
Yeah, they do. And I love your pirate theme one.
Mm-hmm. That one's in the.
Is it a
side-
tavern? Is
side
that-
of it.
An
It's a-
inn or
I think it's
Tavern.
a bed and
Bed and
breakfast. or
breakfast, that's
something.
right,
Yeah,
that's
right.
It's one of those. Yeah. So.
yeah.
What is your favorite official Lego modular?
Right. Well, Angie got the first one that time. I'm gonna have to say it's close, but I'd have to say it's the original one, just because I remember seeing that in the magazine and being like, "Whoa, that's like a next level Lego set! My
Mhm.
goodness, it looks way cooler than all the other Lego sets. It's also more expensive, but then the sequel was also really good. The Market Street, the blue one with the side alley kind of thing. Those two are my favorite. Probably would have to give it to the cafe corner, the original one.
Mhm.
It just looks so cool. Has that nostalgia vibe, but the rest
Mhm.
of them are awesome.
Yeah, they definitely up their game on the detail every time.
Yeah.
So it's harder,
Oh, yeah.
just
Mhm.
from a visual standpoint, to like an older one, because
Mhm.
the newer ones always get. But you're right,
yeah.
the nostalgia has so
For
much.
me, it was
weight.
like looking in the magazine, seeing something that was better than what I was building out of bricks. I was
Yeah.
like, "Whoa, that's
Yeah.
really good." So,
and that's what inspired you to
yeah,
the jumping off point.
it was a big inspiration to kind of up my creativity, my builds, and do
Mhm.
better. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
How about you?
I love the Palace Theater
Mm-hmm.
and Assembly Square. I don't know. I think Assembly Square is awesome because it's so big.
Has that fountain in
Big,
the middle.
Yeah,
It's
that's really
cool.
awesome. I think that is because you'll learn this about me. It is all about the details. The
Mhm.
love is in the details.
Mhm.
And so I not only love to decorate the outside well, but I want the inside to represent it as just as much.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So yeah, for me, those two were really good detailed ones
Mhm.
that I loved.
Awesome.
For me, I kind of spoke about it already. The detectives,
Yeah.
show, and it's more the genre why I like it,
Mhm.
less than the building. I like the hard-boiled detective with the pool. You know, he's right under, the crime is going on right under his nose.
Printing on the windows.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. It
that
has
was
the
nice.
barber shop. It
Yeah,
has the.
no, that's nice.
It used the little snowshoes as the fan blade for
I
it,
forgot about
and
that,
there was a secret safe behind the
pool
wall.
table,
All
yeah.
these things from old movies, and I think that's why
It's awesome.
resonated with me so much. And it had those cool new elements, like I said. And
Great
new
uses of
colors.
pieces.
Yeah. What's so cool about our modulars is that they can be anything. We can theme them off licensed things and stuff like that. What's your opinion on Legos kind of locking the modulars into this 40s, 50s, and 60s style in this time frame? Do you guys have a strong opinion about that? Do you wish they would break from that, or is it better to keep it so that people can take this modular, build it out of the box, and then create their own city with it that all fits together?
I don't know if I have an opinion either way. I actually, until you said that, I haven't really thought about it being just that certain time period genre. For those who can't create their own versions, you know, or haven't tried to yet, I think for them to have a continuity between the buildings for their city, I think that's great for them. I do think though it would be awesome if they came out with more of the more modern looking buildings, maybe
A little more variety, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little variety, but overall, I'm not like mad about it.
Okay.
But they've done a good job so far.
I mean, why change it?
How about you?
So for me, it's probably like kind of going back to this box. You can do a lot within it. So I would say, you know, if the confines of what you're working with aren't too much of a stress so far, you know, there's a lot more to explore. Eventually, maybe like what Andrew was saying, a little bit more variety would be nice. Like I loved how the downtown diner was so unique,
Yeah,
yet it still kind of fits within the look of everything. It's like they did a really good job keeping to the guidelines. So it's like I think they could eventually have a little more variety and have a little bit like some are a little newer, some are even older than that. You know, so it's I think they could push the boundaries a little bit. But as far as it's going right now, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
And even if your city's modern, your home city that you have, most cities have old buildings.
Yeah.
so
Oh
it's
yeah,
still work.
absolutely.
But I think places
Nowadays they almost make them old,
Yeah.
even if they're not.
Well,
They turn
that's
them back old and nostalgic.
That's the thing. You could have the 50s diner as it's not an actual 50s. It's a retro.
Yeah.
I mean, in the
everybody would love
continuity
that,
in
yeah.
your headcanon of your
Absolutely.
city. But that would be interesting to see some more like modern glass.
Yeah, change it up a
Yeah,
little bit.
that's what I was gonna say. More glass, I think, would be awesome to see how they would create.
Yeah, windows.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah.
And I don't know if this is too off the wall or anything, but I would love to see modulars in some classic Lego themes, like
Me too.
a large castle or a tavern or medieval tavern. And stuff.
Maybe Lego will watch this and think, what an inspiration.
Are you listening?
I could create a Marvel DC modular, and it would be based on the Batcave or Tony Sparks' house or whatever. I mean, that is what I love about our city, is that they are modulars, but they're all themed modulars, and they're nothing like what you can get now.
Yeah, and they're smaller and more
And they're
affordable
smaller.
too.
Yeah. Well, we did that because we don't have the space, but to build bigger, or I told Chris he should create. I would love if this was even twice as big so we could keep making modulars, because that is my favorite thing to do. So I'm just waiting for the next one to sell.
He told me on the last vlog cast that an idea they have for the future is to have a miniature golf course if they had time.
Yeah.
And that would be a way to have a lot of modulars and MOCs and stuff. Of course, everything would be for sale, including the golf club.
That. Oh, that would
guess.
be awesome.
But that's way in the future after they've added to the building, and that's just an idea.
That'd be really fun.
I can you imagine playing mini golf with some?
You could have a
I wanna
lot of
do
fun.
that.
Oh my
stuff
goodness!
with
You
that.
could have
I wanna do
motorized things. You could
Yeah.
have the ball hit a button, and then
The
something
windmills
happens.
and blocking the.
Yes, yes.
That
So,
would be good.
so we can go between Bricky Bobby.
Yeah.
We can put him in there.
Let's put him in there.
All right, so now that we've had our pleasantries, we've talked about our favorite thing, I'm sitting in between you guys to keep you guys from fighting. Because the next question gets a little controversial, not just with you guys, but with the Lego community. Modular buildings. Detail on the inside or leave it barren because you can't see the detail anyway?
Yeah.
Now I think I know which ways Angie's gonna go because she already told us in the beginning. It's all about the details. So, since we might know your answer, let's start with you.
I mean, the love is in the details, and I enjoy building the inside more than the outside most of the time because I get to imagine, I get to go into my own little universe of whatever that is.
Interior design.
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I do kind of have a little background in that.
It's the story. Too.
Yeah.
You're telling the story.
I am. I mean, in Olaf's ice cream shop, the first floor is Olaf's ice cream shop, and then the top 2 floors are Elsa's apartment. It is like all ice. And it was something I had to do because I was obsessed with the inside. I had to. Same with Scooby-Doo, and same with Unikitty. The pet shop is full of pets, and it's because when you look in it, if you look at any modular that Lego makes, and you look at the details inside, you can become that character inside the building. You can go to the theater. You can get popcorn at the stand. You can, whatever. I mean, that is, get a book at the bookshop, whatever. That's the whole point of it to me. That's my opinion.
But only, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, only you know about the details. Yes,
Unless it's explained. Yeah.
Yes, someone can take it off and look at it and recreate your story. And
But any good builder you should be able to, any storyteller, you should take your story and be able to portray it in a way that anybody that looks at it, they have their
You
own
get the basic
ideas,
gist,
but
right?
they understand. Like if you look at Elsa's apartment, who else lives there? I mean, it's ice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But unless you take it down, take this.
True, nobody would see
no
it.
one would see it.
You're right, but you can if you step around to the back.
Okay.
You can peek over the edge of the seat.
Yeah, no, you're right. You are very right about that. But I would not want anyone buying my modular and it being blank on the inside.
Yeah.
I understand there's other reasons to do that.
Uh-oh.
This is my opinion.
Guys, calm down.
Well, as one side of the case has been
See,
presented.
the grasshopper is starting to.
To get a little.
I'm getting a little
surly.
angry
So
here.
yeah, I would say it's one of my great weaknesses is that I like if the love's in the details, I'm a cold-hearted person because
There's no
it's
love.
like
No love.
when I build the outside, I'm like, oh, that looks great, and then it's like the inside, I'm like, it's fine.
No one's gonna see
No one's
that.
gonna see it. No.
So you think anybody at Lego, when they build their modular, if they didn't put anything inside the modular and they charge those prices and people buy it, they go, I'm getting cheated.
Here's an interesting fact: the first modular did not have an inside.
Okay, I didn't know
So,
that.
which is also my favorite, it's partly because they don't care about the inside. So it's like it's literally blank, and it's made so that you could fill it. I think there's even, I'm not sure, you have to fact check me on this, but I think they even had a little blurb on the magazine where it said you can decorate the interior as you like
I
because
was
they didn't
gonna
have the
say,
piece count.
That's the only reason to have an open blank template is so someone else could do it. You're right.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I know you and several other people are like that I know are very into designing the interior,
Yeah.
but that's just
Yeah,
unfortunately
very.
it's never. I'm the big picture guy. The details
Yes.
I just can't quite.
Well, that's what I've always said. We work well together. You're the big picture guy. I'm the details. So we
Yep.
work together, create some really good.
Exactly. I can just I can whip up some furniture, but it's not nearly as detailed as most like Angie's or other people that I know. It's like they have the knack for it. I just it's just not my tastes or
Yes.
my skills.
And
so.
when we did one of them, was it the sporting goods or the perfume shop? He asked me
Yeah,
to make.
I'm like Angie.
asked
I
me to
need you to
make
make.
things inside
Yeah, I'm
it.
like I have no idea what this
Yeah.
inside should look like. I need you to furnish that inside. And she did a great job.
Your idea is more the museum piece. See it from the outside. Don't touch
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And you're more. No, take it down. Look at the inside. Enjoy
Yeah.
the story.
Enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah. I am undecided.
Justin.
Wishy-washy.
I know, like a good journalist, I don't take a side.
That's good.
Yeah, right.
Unbiased.
Are there any journalists that are unbiased?
Exactly.
Yeah. Unbiased. What a rarity.
So
is that?
let's get some down
Yes.
and get some close-ups and have you guys talk about your favorite. All right, through the magic of editing, we have switched places.
I'm
This-
between two studs.
That's right. Aw. When someone buys this, are the lights included in the price?
I
Okay,
believe so. Yeah.
that's awesome. They just need a system to.
Exactly.
Everything you see, and sometimes we don't include the figures unless they just want them. But
Yeah.
sometimes Chris
Okay.
will just do the building and not the figures.
Okay. I can see the love and care and detail from back here, but let's share it with our audience.
Yeah. So Olaf's ice cream shop. When I went to go do this one, I told Chris what I was going to do, and he said, well, he said, I need it to look like a regular building for the most part. I don't want it to be some wild, weird. He didn't know what I was going to do.
Not too crazy.
Yeah, he wanted it to blend into a city pretty well. So he asked me to try to make the outside look normal, if you want to call it that. So I went with the gray because that's what we had the most pieces of. And one of my favorite details is the ice cream cone there. The tan cone only came from a Lego movie set. I forget the name.
Was
of
it used as a cone in that one as well?
It may have been, yeah.
Yeah, it was on the ice cream. It was an ice cream truck.
That's right. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I took that off of there and put it on here. I also built an igloo here at the top, and when it's lit up, it's really cool with Anna playing with the snow geese and all. And Mark printed the title.
The sign right there,
The sign, yeah. So the outside looks cold in my mind. It kind of has a cold look to it with the icicles hanging
cool
down.
Color scheme, yeah.
Yeah, and then up here at the top, this detail, these were the energy effects from one of the superheroes.
Oh, the Marvel ones, I think.
Yeah, my
Iron Man.
idea with that was just I wanted it to look like cold ice waters running through the whole building. It's like inspired because the inside is so, everything is cold. So I wanted to portray that on the outside with these energy effects. People may or may not understand that, but that was my
Elsa
story.
vibe, you know? It's like the
Yeah.
ice everywhere. And the
Yeah,
ice sculptures.
Yeah, he didn't want me to do much with it on the outside to show difference, but I wanted it to at least show there's ice water running through the whole building. It's cold, very cold.
Some frozen highlights.
Yeah.
The print right here, is that from a set? That sticker?
Yeah, it comes from one of the Friends sets, one of the cafes, I think.
Oh, they've done multiple ice cream shops and cafes.
Yeah, it was
So-
on a cylinder piece, but I took it off and cut it to go into the window
That's clever,
completely.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
good.
Is that allowed?
I
that was
cut a
allowed.
sticker. I cut a Lego sticker.
Okay, so do you want to
Yeah.
turn around or take it apart? What's
We
better?
can turn it around. So obviously the bottom floor is Olaf's ice cream shop. Elsa's in there too. And then the other two floors, somehow they magically can rise to the occasion and get up in here. But it shows Elsa's apartment. And the top floor, at the very back center here, she has her own throne made of ice that she can sit on and look outside with water fountains here and just observe the people as they go by, her subjects, I guess. But yeah, in her apartment, she's got an area where she can sit. I can't remember. She's got a sofa type chair, but she's not looking at a fireplace. She's actually looking at an ice
crystal.
ice crystal. But her carpet's made of ice and snow, and so there's a chair with an ottoman beside it. There's a small table in the front with flowers on it. Yeah.
It's very well furnished in there, yeah.
Very well furnished, yeah.
And just looking at the outside from this angle, I can see that you did go with a 40s, 50s, 60s style, just like the standard, which not all of them back there are. A lot of them are, like the Ed's CrossFit Cafe is very modern. And of course, Benny's is totally decked out in space and future or retro 80s version of the future.
Yeah, but this one does fit within the
Yeah, it
modular mold
absolutely
very
does.
well. And
Yeah.
it still has those frozen elements, too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, when I went to, I get inspired by what I see. So when he told me he wanted a building that looks very much like what could fit into any city, I just Googled or Pinterested just buildings, city buildings. And when I came upon this one, because I knew I wanted to include the ice cream somewhere in there, I came upon this look, and so I fell in love with the look, and that's what made me build it.
Very nice.
Most of my ideas come from what I see and not so much out of my head. But the building of it, yeah, it was inspired by another building. I don't even know what building it was. It was just a city building.
Now, these normally don't get touched very often. Does a free dusting include purchasing?
Oh, of course.
you probably would have to do that.
Yeah.
We don't want to give
I won't hand
allergies
do
or
it,
anything.
I'll
Yeah.
do it for you.
All right. That's interesting what you said, that you're much more visual, so you use
I am.
pictures.
Yes.
You looked up a lot of old buildings from this time.
Yes, that's why I couldn't be on a Lego Masters in my mind, because I need to look at something to be inspired. I can't just think of it and create it.
Oh, they use their phones. They
You
totally
think?
use their.
They
absolutely.
gotta. I don't know.
Somebody,
It's-
I don't know.
it's-
I mean,
or when they get back to the hotel, they're looking at their. I
They
don't
use
know.
visual.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
sure even the professional
Most
Lego
builders
people.
use pictures.
do they?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So
I thought
I would say that's
just,
very good technique is to look at something and then build it in Lego.
All artists
How do you think people
reference.
do portraits? They
Yeah.
look at the person, then they paint.
Well,
them.
no,
It's just-
that's true. That's true.
All
I didn't think
artists
about that.
reference real life.
Yeah.
So I don't have to feel so bad about
No,
myself.
no, no,
You're good.
no, no.
Okay.
You're doing good.
No,
Okay.
inspiration doesn't just come from people's heads.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, every now and then, but yeah.
A true
yeah,
artist,
so-
yes, but maybe not.
I would say most comes from something, some source.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We have Mark's Benny's Interstellar Postal Service.
Yeah, this is a pretty fun building. Working with a corner means you have more sides to detail. Because I mean, most modulars are just have the one face that's really detailed, and the back might have a little bit. But this one is like you got the two sides, and there are a couple of sets that are like this. Look good from those two sides. You have, I think there are 2 doors, unless I'm mistaken. Yes, 2 working doors. You have 2 signs because Benny's trying to get all the ad space he can. And then, yeah, it's got a couple floors. And this is actually one that I think is not as modular as it should be. I don't think the floors are moved. I think it's basically like one big story, maybe with like a loft up here, because there are no windows.
I love the front, all the greebling.
Exactly. That was the
Crazy
main.
amount of greebling.
Yeah, that's what I love the detail on.
Yeah, the main focus of this one was in most of the classic space themed creations I've seen, they're all just packed, absolutely jam-packed with details. And so that was the point of this. Every surface is as detailed as possible. You got all these little gray machinery-looking pieces. It's called greebling. And yeah, so it's just as detailed as possible. It also was trying to incorporate a bunch of lights. So it has quite a few lights for its size, all kind of in there blinking and flashing. So, and then at the very top you have this kind of separate landing area for the ships to come and pick up packages. So that's about as detailed as the story gets. That this is where they drop and pick up all the packages because it's a delivery service, right?
And you've done a mini Galaxy Explorer.
That's
build.
actually a set.
That is a
So
set.
yeah,
Oh,
that is,
wow.
and it was made. I believe that set was produced because the big one was expensive at the time, probably like what $20.
okay.
So this one was the more affordable version, and this is obviously we can't fit the huge Galaxy Explorer on there, so this one was.
So
perfect
that's
for
an
size.
official set.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
think it was.
LL918.
Okay.
That might be the set number. I'm not sure. It's
I think it is.
yeah,
I think
anyway.
it is. At least in some countries.
so so you have Benny in his packages. He's ready to take off. So.
We've got the pink astronaut over here, and is this the customer, the Ewok?
So he's actually from a Star Wars. Let me get rid of him. He's from a Star Wars event we had going on in our city. He never got cleaned up, so he escaped our pickup efforts on that. But yeah. So,
Excellent.
And then on the inside, this is actually a perfect example of the differences between me and Angie. There's like absolutely nothing, not even floors, just
I'm
like
trying desperate to get in there. I have
raw,
so many ideas.
raw, empty space to be used. Probably I would have like a sorting room on top and have a little like a,
Post office.
you know when you have a post office boxes, stuff like that, little desk. So there could be some stuff like that in there at some point. But at the
never
time of
happen.
building this, I never worried about it. And yeah, so
It'll never
I
happen.
forgot there was absolutely nothing in there. That's pretty funny.
But if someone buys it, they can create what they want.
That's true. They can just add a few pieces of furniture and it's ready to
I'm
go.
trying to help you.
I noticed this doesn't have the setup for the pinholes to
Yes.
match
So-
an
None of
actual
them really
official.
do.
They
Our,
don't.
our,
Okay.
our modular size is more based on the Lego 16x16 plate.
Oh, okay.
So and that is attached to the ground. And other than that, there's not too many differences other than don't overhang too much
Got
into
it,
your other
okay.
buildings. But because we're using a smaller system
Scale.
than the big modulars, just
Yeah.
because we don't have a big shelf, we have a small square area.
Mhm.
And so the streets are even way narrower than a normal Lego street would be too. So everything's a little condensed to just try and save
Makes them more
space.
affordable because since they are for sale and they are
Exactly.
customs, which tend to be more expensive anyway.
Maximizes the amount of buildings and detail you can
Yeah.
have. So
I love it.
Mhm.
All right.
that's this one.
Thank you so much. Are we moving on to another
Next
one?
one, yeah,
Okay,
we're good.
Angie's about to explode.
I
Let's
want
do
to
it.
do it. I want to do it.
Now we have the Harry Potter Apothecary and Wand Shop. I almost said wine shop because I was
Yeah.
looking at the wine bottles up there. Whatever wizards drink.
Yeah, whatever
all
they
the
Potions,
liquids, yeah.
yeah.
The, what is it, butterbeer or whatever?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. And of course the black, the dark colors really show the dust. But again, if
Yes.
you bought this,
It would be clean.
it would be clean.
Yeah.
It just sat there and.
It's a late dusting of snow. It's the holiday.
That's right. That's right.
When we're filming
It's
this.
not dust. It's snow because
Exactly.
it's December here.
This was one of my other really detailed ones on the outside and on the inside, and it probably broke a lot of modular rules for this one, but that's okay. These two parts here, these arches, only came in 3 different sets in black. I think it was an Atlantis set, a hidden side, and the old diagonally. So I asked Chris if I could order these specifically. He didn't want to order any parts. He just wanted to use what we had. But I told him, I said, I have to have it in black. It's not going to be right in white. It has to be black. So he let me order these 2 parts specifically for the set. You can see all of the spiders that are crawling in and out. That was another detail that I liked. And, the fact that people can walk up and buy their wand or animal or whatever it is they're looking for. So the bottom floor is the apothecary wand shop. And then the second floor is still a part of the apothecary. It's just the upper level where they keep all of the potions and notions and whatever they are. And then the top floor is a little cafe where you can go in and order, or actually probably a bar, and you can order drinks and hang out with all your magical friends. And then, of course, we have... what's his name?
Draco?
Yes,
Malfoy
Malfoy and his...
Crab or Hoyle.
Yeah, one of them. Trying to cast a spell on the whole Harry Potter thing because he doesn't like Harry.
The Slytherin boys having fun.
Yeah, the Slytherin
Yes.
boys having fun.
And is that Harry releasing Hedwig? Or maybe...
just kind of showing
Just
off.
hanging out in the front cubby there.
Yeah, the front one. So if you look at the inside, you'll see why I had to ask Mark a little bit, because typically the floor of a modular is just, at least for us, was just a 16 by 16. But this is where I had a vision, but I did not know how to get it across. So I asked Mark, if I want to go from one floor to the next, how do I go about doing that? Because I can't cut a hole in the 16 by 16 plate. So how do I do it? I wanted to hang a chandelier. I knew that. And that does light up, by the way. And I knew that I wanted there to be like a loft in the apothecary.
Which can be a huge challenge if you're
Exactly.
using a flat, no-hole piece to use as your foundation for
Right,
creation.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
basically, in order to have the gap that you're looking for in that layer, you have, instead of just using one layer of plates and having it very weak, you have multiple layers of plates. Usually 2 is enough. And you kind of overlap them, stack them, and that way you can have one piece. It becomes one piece that's 2
It's a
plates
solid
thick,
plate.
and then you stack that in there where you need it, and then you have that nice gap that you're looking
Okay.
for that very cool architectural feature on the inside to have that chandelier hanging down.
And so, and then you notice up here, like I said, the bar, the guys are hanging out, grabbing a drink together before they go do whatever they're going to
Teaching.
do.
Yeah, exactly.
Teaching.
I always thought most of my teachers were drunk.
Yeah.
That's the teacher's lounge. That's what
Yeah,
that is.
exactly. That might be. You might be right.
I like how the
So-
ghost is the one serving the spirits.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
That's a
really
good fun. That's a
really
good
good
fun.
for you, man. Yeah. So this is my Harry Potter creation. Again, it was probably the second modular I ever made, as far as for here in the store, and I feel like it turned out pretty good.
It did.
The inside is just really awesome, especially with the chandelier lit up. It looks great.
Is Dumbledore coming through?
it's
the
a
window,
portrait.
Oh yeah,
or is that a
yeah.
portrait?
Yeah, he's coming through in a portrait. It's like a.
He's like waving out of
I'm
the portrait.
very happy that you've noticed that, because I really wanted that to come across like an active painting.
Painting.
You caught
Yes.
it.
Yep.
You were in my vision.
Great storytelling.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
there you
Reaching out.
go.
All right, now we have Ed's Cafe and the Brick City Sporting Goods.
And the perfume shop on the very bottom, yeah.
Perfume shop.
Right
too.
over
oh, there
here.
you go.
Yep.
Brick City Perfumes.
So the interesting thing about this creation, it was basically like we had a couple objectives, which is one of the ways I typically build. Is like you have to have a perfume shop, a Brick City Sporting Goods, and maybe an Ed's Cafe, because Ed's pawn shop had just been sold a little while ago. And so that was the purpose of this build. These signs we actually got traded to us. They were part of somebody else's city display in the past, but they were done with that, so they wanted to trade in the pieces, and we found these in there, and we're like, wow, we got to put these to use. So we just started building the buildings around those 2 stores.
So explain these signs. That is 3D printed, you said? So
Yes.
that is not an actual Lego brick?
No, it's normal Lego bricks that somebody has then 3D printed the letters onto them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they were just kind of attached to them like through a printer. And so that's, for both cases, that one's much thicker than this one. You can see it a lot clearer on the sporting goods sign.
Oh, okay.
But that's where...
and those are kind of like puffy stickers almost?
basically, yeah. So they used a printer to just add the letters onto the bricks. even if it's not very thick. It's like a thin coating, but if you're not careful, you can scrape it off because it's a very smooth surface. So we have to be kind of.
And
we don't want to poke them.
Someone just traded that in.
They were done with them. They had finished their display and they traded them in. So we're like, cool, we can use these because Brick City sounds very typical Lego City brand. And so so that's where the two bottom buildings are. The one on this side here is much more modern and clean. It goes all the way up. Has these very big glassy windows, like we were saying, a little bit more easy to see into. And then this one is a little bit more the typical modular building. It uses a lot of those masonry bricks, some details at the top area. So yeah, it's a little smaller than the other one, but that kind of makes sense. The new buildings are taller and bigger and glassier. But at the very top, and there's actually an elevator inside, we'll get to in just a second, you have Ed's CrossFit Cafe. That's a joke on one of our store's owners, Ed, who's been in the show at this point, the vlog. And so he likes to exercise, he likes coffee, he likes to work out. And he also likes coffee, so we kind of merged his two interests into this weird amalgamation of a restaurant up at the top. So, but everyone likes to go there, even the guys who work out. They're all working out and serving coffee at the same time. It's great.
You got sweaty coffee.
Exactly, sweaty coffee, salty coffee. Yes,
exactly.
And that is Ed?
That is Ed on the top, and his best friend Jar Jar's with him, and Batman is lifting a tire behind them here. So all the buff dudes in the top of the building just having a great day. So, yep. And then so we can probably.
Is that custom, or did someone draw?
I believe that torso is a custom.
Okay.
So it's custom printed, at least. Yeah. So, but we use that one because
because Lego doesn't make a print buff enough to represent.
Exactly, they had to be even more insane than the Lego one. Yeah. So on the back you can see it's a very plain interior for the sporting goods. You got all the stuff lined up. You got a register. Up on the top you have a little bit more detail with the coffee machines. I kind of went out of my way to make them look like real coffee machines, making realistic.
One's like an espresso machine, and the other one's just regular.
You have the big gold espresso machine, the regular coffee machine.
Was Angie on you to fill in the details?
I think
or
Chris
and
Angie were both like, come on, make it a little bit more detailed.
Mark asked me to make a coffee machine, so I did. And then Mark made the espresso machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris is like, it'd be really fun if you had a whole gigantic Victorian-looking espresso machine in there. So we put that one in there. It was pretty hilarious. But on this one, the perfumes, I was like, I don't know what is inside a perfume shop. I've never been in one. So I'm like, Angie, you got to help me. You got to do the inside. So she wonderfully detailed the inside with all the little perfumes and a little place to shop and the floor. So that's all her doing, and it looks really good in there. Even compared to the one next to it with the Brick City Springs. I just kind of was like, just get it done. But this is like she actually put a little work into it, so that was good. The sticker is that print was us. Just found a little like Lego guy picture that a guy working out, and then we added a little logo back there, and Ed's CrossFit Cafe. It was perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, but that was just printed on our printer. It was pretty simple. So, but yeah, but we had a lot of fun with this build. I like it in that you have different layers. You have the tall one, shorter one, and on top of the shorter one, you have a little balcony area where they can all enjoy their coffee and watch the buff dudes work out.
Yeah, I love this because, like you said, it's a modern building with an old building, but also has the store in jokes in it. It has official
jokes.
Lego. It has very one-off, crazy custom stuff. It's a mixture of everything.
Absolutely.
This building kind of represents the store in a lot of ways.
It does. It really does.
Because of all
adaptation,
Is that a custom? Did you guys?
So that head was originally Dumbledore's head, I believe, and we just added some very bushy eyebrows, as a bushy goatee, and it looks just like Ed now all of a sudden. So yeah, it worked out.
Ed Dumbledore.
Exactly. Yeah.
You never see them together at the same time.
It's true. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ed is a 102-year-old wizard.
Exactly.
I buy it.
Yeah.
All right, some friends love going out for a modular building.
And this was the first modular I ever built in my whole life. Again, I looked at a picture because I didn't know what I was doing, and I went home and tried it, and then I thought, oh my goodness, I love this, and I really wanted friends represented because they aren't represented typically in a modular for sure. So I based it off of the juice bar. A lot of this part here looks exactly like the juice bar set. Like this whole front area looks a lot like what the actual set looked like.
Yeah.
I kind of took that from it. But then in the details, I also added the apartment for these girls. If I were doing it now, you wouldn't be able to see studs. I'd have tiles down there, giving it more of a smoother look inside. But again, this was my first one. created some furniture for the upstairs and downstairs, and of course the juice bar itself is in there. And the inside of the juice bar is based very much on the
Actual set.
the actual set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just scaled it down a little bit to incorporate everything into the size. But then the furniture, again, I think I looked at pictures on Pinterest or something for furniture inspiration. So you have the television cabinet, this couch, everybody watching television, and then upstairs is the bedroom.
Yeah, I really like the bookcase right here. It has all the different layered shelves. I think that just looks really good. You can see that in a normal modular set and still be impressed with that. Yeah.
The couch is pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, it was just I wanted friends represented, and here we are.
How long did this take you?
Actually, this one didn't take me as long as I thought it would compared to the others, because it's not, I mean, it is detailed, but it's not near as detailed as my other one. So it took me a few days working on it, maybe 2 or 3 hours a day.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe.
And you were
maybe,
pulling from very specific inspiration.
Correct.
Too,
On this one I was, so I didn't have to come up with an idea necessarily as much as normal. As much as the others, because the others I just looked at a picture and then I had to think through how do you do that. But this one, again, I was looking at the set itself, the instructions for the set, and kind of followed that to a small degree to be able to create the bottom floor.
It created a foundation for you to
Correct.
just finish off.
Yeah.
So, This one's a little diminutive compared to the other ones we have, but
you need that variety.
Yeah, but it's like The Hobbit; they're short.
yeah, that's true.
That's right.
They're not very tall.
Yeah.
So we got this one. It's based on kind of the Lord of the Rings. You got the I like the sign a lot. It says Baggins fine jewelry and collectibles. So it's it has a picture of the ring on there. So you can imagine that's what his business would be. Collectibles.
Yeah, but he's not giving away the One Ring.
No, of course not. No, that's behind the counter. But or I think he's wearing it actually. That's hilarious. So that's what that is. It's got a hobbit hole front. That's a lot of those pieces are borrowed from the
actual.
Yeah, I forget the name of the set, but it's the hobbit hole set from the Hobbit movie. And so that's where those are borrowed from. I don't think I actually had a set to work with. I just found the pieces and I'm like, yeah, these are from that set. I'm gonna borrow those. So that's
I
what,
love this set. I think it's so cute.
the whole bottom story is based on that. Then once you get to the top, you have a little bit of a grassy slope going up to what looks like a little bit of a castle. Not very big, just a kind of stout fortress top. You got the crenels going on here, and just loaded with details on the top. Just all the collectibles, the weapons, the shields, all the sort of medieval style stuff. And then on the bottom, you have a bit more of the collectible stuff. You have like trophies, jewels, gems, bottles, all sorts of things that a little hobbit could grab. And then on the next floor, you have a little map area in there. I actually did just some of the basic details of the furniture. A lot of the flooring was added in by my little buddy Nathan. He helped me out with this one. He didn't have anything to do that day. He's like, Mark, what you working on? I'm like, well, I'm building this building. He's like, oh, can I help? I'm like, yeah, sure, put the floor down. So that's what
Nathan did great.
He detailed the inside there. And he also gathered many of the interesting things that Bilbo Baggins is selling too. So whenever I'm like, Nathan, I need some shields and maps, he's like, great. So he ran over and got them. So that's how they got in here.
I think it's awesome.
I like the detailing between the two
Yes.
windows here.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
On the in between the two, it almost represents two little tower sections.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of divides the space a little bit. So yeah, that was very fun to combine both Lord of the Rings and typical castle to make kind of a Baggins collectible store. It's pretty neat.
Well, thank you guys so much. I love the creativity. I love all the effort, the time, the love that was put into those. And of course, thank you for sharing your ideas, your journey through Modulars with us. Any closing remarks? Any tips or tricks you would give people that we haven't talked about?
For me, when I go to build something, I kind of draw it on paper, the footprint of it, before I start. If I can get the base done, then the rest kind of flows from that. But so sometimes I'll either put a plate down and like map it out with bricks, or draw it on paper. That's the tip I use. I mean, some people you probably just start building, but for me, I have to plan it. But that would be my tip or trick.
I think even the pro Lego creators, a lot of them will kind of sketch it out on paper.
Basically, if you have a simple build, you can just start building. But if you want it to be really good, a sketch beforehand is a very good idea. If you got a pen and paper or pencil paper to work with, and just kind of get your ideas out a little bit, and help you kind of say, oh, that works or that doesn't work, even before you start building. So.
And then you can get an idea of pieces. While you're drawing, you can see the shapes, like, oh, they make a piece like that. Oh, that would be.
I draw the front of what I I don't draw the front because I'm usually looking at a picture. I draw like a bird's eye view,
like a blueprint,
of how the
yeah.
walls are going to go, and is this going to be is this enough room for the stairs to go and get to the next level? That's what I mean by drawing it out, because I have had it where I started to build and everything was going well, and then I went to add stairs or something, and the stairs were going to be an incline like that, as opposed to
you got to figure out the layout before you
Yeah.
start sometimes, for
so
sure.
that's what I do, like a bird's eye view into the first floor.
Okay. And how about you? Any tips or tricks that we have not discussed already?
Find some of the key elements that are going to really create a foundation or create the main style points, and then kind of work around that is what I would say. Because, like, for example, Angie had to make a normal building and then add a ice cream cone to it. So it's like that's one of the main elements of that building. So it's like make sure you got those together in your mind before you start building. Otherwise, it's like, I just want to make a modular. It's like, well, you got to find what makes the modular tick, you know.
And sometimes a single piece can be the jumping off point. Like,
Exactly.
oh, that's a really
Well,
interesting way to put those things together. Oh, that's the design for the front.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, the ice cream cone example, that was a huge thing for me. So
Yeah.
I kind of built the building around that
Exactly.
tiny thing.
Find your thing that you're building around, and then you can create a nice building to go with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We want to do more of these video blogs, these vlogs. What do you call it?
VOD. A vodcast?
Vodcast.
Yep.
Or we'd also like to hear from you. What types of things do you want to hear us talk about? What types of subjects? Is there any punditry you'd like to hear our opinions on? So give us some ideas. Put some stuff in the comments. And, of course, please subscribe and click the bell if you'd like to, wherever it is.
Down there, yeah.
Wherever it is, and click the bell if you want to be notified
Yes.
of new videos. So we want to keep this an ongoing thing in addition to the regular YouTube videos that we normally drop. So let us know what you want to see. All
Merry
right?
Christmas!
Thank
We'll
you
see you
so
guys.
much, Mark and Angie.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank
Merry
you, Justin.
Christmas.